Welcome back. Another week of the Sports 2.0 golf show. Justin Onken here with Grant Bale.
Howdy.
It's major week, last major of the year. This is the seventh major that we've had in like the last 10 months, something like that. And now we have to sit and wait till April when this is over. So we should enjoy this one.
Yeah, we got nothing coming up until the winter. We have FedEx stuff, which will be fun because you get all the PGA guys. But as far as big tournaments, we're gonna have to wait. So
Ryder Cup in September, but
right, I guess we'll have Ryder Cup, which will be also fun. But for majors is our last one, so let's kind of finish it off with a bang. Let's maybe hit a winner, hit some matchups, hit a margin. Have a big celebration next week.
Yeah, let's go. Well, last week, John Deere Classic, we were tepid because that can be a bit of a crapshoot, but ended up being a pretty good week. I hit my matchup. I hit Adam Schenk, bad golfer. He finished in the top 5. Henley and McNeely, my two outrights, were within a few shots going into Sunday, had a chance, but McNeely made 18 straight pars, and Henley shot 2 under. So nothing too crazy. Did hit a few bets, which was nice. It was a decent bounce back from the week before.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I hit ZJ over Stricker by 1 and then lost the Lebioda bet by 1, but then we hit that top 20. The 2-stroke margin hit for the first time of our show, which is great. It's got a nice 350 give back on it, so that's great. I kind of a decent week for the events, especially coming off an event very similar and doing really, really bad. It was a good bounce back, like you said.
Yeah, I mean those types of events are really difficult, so I'll take a winning week, no doubt. Not a lot of news this week. Everybody's pretty much gearing up. We did have the Scottish Open. I did hit Ian Poulter top 20. He made a run, actually finished one shot back of making it into a playoff. And there was some interesting stuff come out of the Scottish Open in terms of some guys that, like Zalatoris, for example, we've never seen him on a links course before, and he had a pretty good showing. And then, guys like Poulter and Matt Fitzpatrick, players who showed up and played really well. It doesn't hurt to see them play well the week before a major across the pond.
Yeah, it was interesting. I got another guy who I'll talk about in a matchup later, who I took some good news off of from him coming over and playing in the Scottish. The playoff was pretty fun to watch. It was a 3-guy playoff, and then I think one person dropped, or no, Minwoo
Lee won. He made birdie. Yeah,
he birdied the first hole of the playoff, so it was over quick, which is nice because the last 2 playoffs we've had in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we'll see that in a couple of our bets going down, and we'll talk about the link style, which obviously, has a big effect on how the tournament goes with the success of guys who are comfortable, European players, etc.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's jump in. This might be a long one. I think that we should take our time and really break this down. Open Championship didn't have one last year. COVID canceled that. Royal St. George's is going to play host. They have hosted the Open Championship the second most times of any course on the Rota. This will be their 15th time hosting it. Last time was 2011. Darren Clark won his one and only major, edged out DJ. DJ actually got it to 1 back on the back 9 and then hit it out of bounds on 14 and made a double. And that was pretty much the end of DJ. And then back in 2003, when Ben Curtis won, which Ben Curtis is like one of the most, maybe the worst player ever to win a major. That might have been the most like random win of all time, especially with like Tiger in the field. But this course has produced some first-time winners. 5 of the last 6 winners of the Open at Royal St. George's were first-time major winners. The Open in general just kind of breeds a little bit of randomness. Courses typically play pretty tough, and the weather can get kind of hairy. I would not be shocked to see a first-time major winner, but I expect it to be somebody older. The average age of like the last 10 winners is 32 or 34. Most of the winners have had at least 4 trips at the Open. I really have a hard time seeing somebody who doesn't have a ton of experience actually win. Obviously, guys like Morikawa, Hovland, Zalatoris, who are here for their first time, I still expect them to play well, especially the course fit for those guys kind of makes a lot of sense. But these types of courses are just, they're demanding, particularly this one. Based on everything that I've heard, precision is going to be key. You have to get it in the right spots in the fairways to be able to attack. There's humps and bumps and mounds and runoffs all over the fairways and around the greens, and you're going to get bad breaks. So I think that's another aspect to consider is the mental side. You're going to get screwed, and if it gets really, really firm and fast, there's going to be a lot of good shots in the greens that get punished.
Yeah, I encourage everybody to go watch the Golf Digest link to flyover of the course, because you can see in the aerial views how much the fairways, how hilly they are, not the holes and the bowls, and how they run off on this side and that side. There's a fairway, I think it's on the back, that has a hump through the middle of it. You could ideally hit it straight down the fairway, hit the wrong side of that hump, and be completely off on the fairway. So, like you said, there's going to be some mental games as far as keeping your confidence. Like, hey, I'm still doing the right thing, even though even though this kind of got some bad luck behind it. Guys who are comfortable, I think we're going to see that in a little bit of our card of guys who have played these style of courses before, or even
Definitely.
have like very recent form in these style of courses, that link style where you have to be precise. There's a lot of hazards in between you and the flag sometimes, right? Not always the other holes connected. There's like fescue and what do you call that? Like there's canal and ditches that run through between you and the green that you got to get over and be precise on where that ball lands. So
Yeah.
it's going to be fun to watch, because it's going to be in the morning here in the U.S., which is great. So it's a good viewing experience for us. And just all the stuff that anything can happen. Any good shots you never know how it's going to land on the course or where it's going to be sitting out there. And like you said, the wind, there's no trees. It's all just hills and sand and
I think there's one tree they said in that
yeah,
video,
one tree
that
in the whole
video
thing.
you're talking about.
And the bunkers there's bunkers that are 4 or 5 feet deep. So, and you have those big bold bunkers that have the big walls around them. It's going to create some drama, and hopefully we'll have a really fun Sunday. I think it's interesting to note that 2003 was 1 under was the winner score, and 2011 was 5 under. So
Yeah.
I'm going to say I think it goes higher than that this year based on the weather that I've seen. Doesn't look crazy windy, besides maybe one day in like the 14-15 range. But I would say we could probably expect this to stay in the single digits.
I looked at the weather today. I think it's going to be pretty windy. I saw Sunday gusts over 30, and some gusts on Thursday. But this is a course that it's right on the coast.
Right.
It's going to have wind no matter what, basically, and that's every now and then you get some of these courses that if it blows, it'll be difficult, and then it doesn't blow. Like Erin Hills, I was at Erin Hills. If the wind would have blown like it normally does at Erin Hills, that course would have been impossible. But it didn't blow.
Right.
Brooks tore it up. I actually think the winning score might be a bit better based on what I've seen people talk about, that it's a bit soft. A lot of these link style courses, they just dry out. The fairways are basically like concrete, not a lot of grass. But everybody says it's really green. It's pretty lush. And Morikawa had a video yesterday where he said he was stopping 5 irons around the hole. So, and maybe by Saturday, Sunday, it won't be like that. But I would expect to see some pretty good scoring tomorrow. Tanner, I see your comment. Who are you betting day one tomorrow? Somebody that goes off early. I have not looked at the tee times. Somebody who tees off early in the morning. You can get some fun first round leader bets. I like guys who can go low early in the morning, get out before the wind really gets picking up. Grant, do you see any early tee times that you like?
No, I'm still trying to pull up right now, but the one guy I mentioned was Jordan Spieth. I think he's going to get off to a hot start. I think he's going to be motivated to not only win but to compete early. And I actually like him. I know his number won't be as good compared to other numbers that you're going to see especially on first round leader numbers. But
yeah,
I like Jordan Spieth tomorrow. I like him for the whole tournament. He's going to show up later, but I think he's the guy who's definitely going to be up there towards the top. Brooks is always a safe bet because he's just always in the top 10 of every single day on the majors. But I'm going to look up the tee times right now.
I've got it. A guy that I'm going to mention later, Christian Bezaden, how it goes off really early.
He'd be a good one.
Garrick Higo goes off pretty early. He can make a bunch of birdies. Bernd Wiesberger, he's tended to pop in a few majors. He goes off pretty early. Another guy I'm going to mention later, Lucas Herbert. He's a Euro guy who can really go off early. I think that I would want to get somebody in the first 10 or 12 groups and hope that they kind of miss whatever wind there may be tomorrow, at least for their front nine. I think that you'll see some low scores tomorrow. We're talking par 70. I think there'll be 65, 64 maybe from somebody tomorrow. I expect some pretty good scoring. Now, that person may back straight up, but
sneaky name who will have a huge first-round leader for tomorrow in the beginning groups is Detry. Detry just came off a really, really good performance in the Scottish. Illinois guy for us, which is great. And he can go low on these courses. He's proven it before. If he can kind of continue to and keep that comfortability and that form he had from the Scottish, I think he could really compete if he goes out and gets, if he gets soft conditions, like you said.
Taylor Gooch, another guy that goes up pretty early. He's from Kansas, played at Oklahoma State. Should be used to like the windy kind of fescue style of courses, and he can really go low. Those would be some of the guys that I would target early. Like I was saying, though, I think that the scoring might be a little bit better. I think you could see somebody get to 8 or 9 maybe and win. But if somebody does that, I think that they're probably going to win by a few shots. I don't expect the whole field to be backed up at 6, 7, 8 under par. We'll see. It's ultimately
for later.
I think I might be trying to lead in a bit here, but if one stat that I really wanted to point out, there's not strokes gained data from 2011, but if you look at Darren Clark, Phil Mickelson, and DJ, those are the top 3. They were all top 10 in greens and regulation. I think that's really big because obviously getting it close to the hole and making pars is like the biggest deal. But that means they weren't in the pot bunkers next to the green the whole time. They weren't in the horrible runoffs where you've got to judge 3 bounds between you and the ball or you and the hole. Getting it on the green is going to be the biggest thing. I'm going to lean super heavy into approach and short game because, if you're not getting off the tee, you're just not going to factor at all. So you have to be able to get off the tee. But I'm looking specifically at approach and short game guys.
Yeah, I like both those, and we've talked about that. The one thing that I'm going to talk about a little later is greens and regulation mixed in with hard scoring courses. So when things kind of ratchet up, and that kind of factors in a lot of things, right? Like wind, course length has a lot to do with how it guys score, especially with PGA Tour. Right? Not everybody can keep up, so naturally the scoring goes down a little bit on the average. Who's hitting greens and who's giving themselves opportunities when things start to get hard. I'm going to kind of preview that later in one of my picks because I have a couple guys who are on that list. And then also, just to kind of complement all that, is that I think big hitters, it'll help here. And if you can power that ball through their low ball flight, especially off the tee, that we got some guys who are going to come up, we're going to talk about, who have some really piercing ball flights. You could really help yourself try to shot, kind of make those shapes kind of round and hopefully stay out of the wind and hurt yourself.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of the short hitters this week, but I'm going to lean a bit long. I mean, the other thing that was kind of common between Clark and Mickelson and DJ, they were all top 20 in driving distance that week. There's some guys who are just really, really good at driving. They hit it far and straight. Those guys are going to have a humongous advantage over some of the other people. But my first outright this week is the ultimate no-brainer. Anytime the one of the big trophies is on the line, I will be betting Brooks Koepka. And the books threw us a bone I bet it at 18-1. I think it's down to 16 most places. He's the best major player since Tiger. He's got more than anyone over the last 5 years. He's got 15 top 15. He's got 15 top 15 finishes in 28 major starts. Since 2017, this is a stat I tweeted out. He's 84 under par in majors since 2017. Dustin Johnson is second at 23 under par. He's 61 shots better than second place.
Is that good?
That's good. He just finished his top 5. He just finished like 4th and 2nd in the last 2 majors we had. He's got 3 top 5s in his last 4 starts. I'm not in love with his comments about not loving the golf course, but I don't care. It's Brooks. It's a major. From what I'm hearing, it's kind of a fader's course for a righty. You want to be on the right side of most of these fairways. He loves to hit the fade, and he really, really wants to win because this Bryson stuff keeps coming up. And I'm telling you, he wants to beat him. He wants to hold the trophy and make a funny remark when he gets done.
Yeah, I've mentioned PGA Splits, the tour follow all the time, and it's a good follow if you're listening to the show and you don't already, go follow him. But he did a strokes gained links courses, and Brooks was number one. So
Yeah,
obviously that has to do with some major performances, and he's just like you said, one of the best major players in the history of golf. But I like him here. There's no there's nothing that pushes him away from playing at a course like this, right? You're going to take all
nope.
that stuff, all those performances that he's already done, and mix it with he does the same thing on these style of courses. So
Yeah,
the comments, like you say, I don't even really put any stock into it, because once he gets out there and he starts to score and starts to put birdies in the hole, or he mishits something and he gets fired up, all that goes away and his competitive drive will just take over. So
yeah.
I love Brooks, and every time he ever picks up a golf club, but
Two,
it'll be great to watch him.
two more things about Brooks. He started on the European tour. When he turned pro, he went and played in Europe. So he's got gobs of experience. He's got Euro wins. I think he's got like 6 European tour wins. He's really, really good when the course gets really, really hard. I love him more than anyone. He shakes stuff off. When he gets a bad break, it doesn't bother him. He just makes his pars, gets up and down. He's clutch, and he can finish. That's what I love. He can finish. He's proven that he can finish. And 18-1, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I'm going to be right there with you, and I'm going to kind of piggyback off what you said as far as guys who you want to have when the scoring gets hard, and that's Rory McIlroy. Rory McIlroy is his talents and his skills really start to shine whenever things have to be really, really done right. When there's a bunch of pressure on, hey, you can't miss here, you can't do that, or you're really going to get penalized. He can always finds a way to get through those situations because of how good he is, and the gap between him and other players. He's had 5 top fives in Open since 2014. Roy McIlroy has, and that's including a win. So I'd like for him to bring this home for us again. I'm not worried about how he played last week at the Scottish, strictly because of how good his form was in the States before he went over. He had a win. We saw him get that win. He also, I think he made 4 or 5 cuts in a row right in that streak. Was all in the top 30, top 40. He got a couple top 20s. Like, he was all right in that good performance range. His irons have been on fire in this.
He scared the U.S. Open. I was on him at the U.S. Open. He was leading on the back 9 almost. So.
Yeah, he was he got 7th in the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
His irons have been on fire. I like the fact that he's just been here for a week. He's played golf. He's probably seen some of his friends and his family that have came over to get ready for the tournament. He's comfortable. Roy McIlroy at 18. I'm going to stay right there with you in the same number range, and we're going to try to bring this home with 2 of the best players to ever play golf.
Yeah, when I was kind of rounding out my outright card this week, he's one of the guys. I have one bet I'm going to make left up at the top, and he's one of the guys under consideration for sure. I like your second guy as well.
Yeah, 35-1. That's on DraftKings, so I think you need to shop that if you're looking around, depending on where you live.
Shop all of these lines.
Yeah.
I've been looking around all week at this stuff, writing articles and making bets. The numbers are all over the place, particularly on top 20s and stuff. Some of these guys are like $100 different. So, pay attention, shop your lines, like always.
Yeah, we have a similar build here at the top, or not, I shouldn't say build, but card, as far as Rory's not American, but he plays over here a lot. Is 2 super studs on the PGA Tour, and then we have 2 guys on the back end who are both European, and both kind of play a mix sometimes of tournaments and tours that they play in. I'm going with Tyrrell Hatton at 35-1. Tyrrell Hatton has 2 Euro wins in the last year, including a BMW, which was the BMW prior to what Victor won this year. That's a big tournament. That's a very competitive tournament overseas.
Yep.
I like that for him, and I like his confidence going into there. We all know a lot about Tyrrell Hatton. I've talked about him a bunch. We bet him a couple times on the show. He got 6th in 2019, 5th in 2016. I like him over here on these link style. He's comfortable. He's proven it. He's done it multiple times. He's been decent for him, not terrible, but decent. He played well at the Scottish and at the Masters here recently, as far as majors go. So that's great. Second at Palmetto, so he's been in contention a couple times. He'll be fine. His strokes gains at the link style was up there, and difficult scoring, two things that I've already mentioned from multiple guys here at the top. He has the iron play. He has the experience. I think if things get hard and things start to come down to, can you get yourself around this golf course? Can you guess less? Can you guess less about your shots and have more precise irons and shots? Kind of like more of, there's not a lot of unknowns to him, rather than some of these new players are going to come in and be like, I don't really know what's going on here. So I like him at 35-1. And if he's up there competing with the big dogs, I think he can hang with the best of them.
Yep, he's got all the talent in the world. I've already bet him.
Yeah.
I like him quite a bit this week. And my second guy is kind of a feel bet. There's a few guys on my card this week that I just kind of feel like this course makes sense for them. The stats are kind of there for some of them. They're really there for this guy. Paul Casey, 40-1. He's got 6 top 10s in his last 10 starts. His irons have been unbelievable. He's top 5 strokes gained approach last 50. He consistently gains off the tee. He's a really, really good driver. He'll be in the fairway plenty. He's not going to kill himself off the tee. He's a good short game player. The problem is his putting can get a bit hot and cold. He's not typically a very good putter. I prefer him in Europe. He's got more experience, I think, putting on these style of courses and greens. I just think that he fits the mold perfectly for what we tend to see at the Open Championships. We see the guys who are in their 30s, who've been around the block, have a ton of experience, and are looking for their first major. He would be similar to Darren Clarke, where Darren Clarke was a good player. He never found a major until bam, he played really well, held on to the victory. And I just think Casey fits it perfectly. Grant and I were looking at a few things this week.
I wanted to bring
that were kind of some trends of the past winners. Most of the past winners had an international event win within the last 2 years. I think 9 of the last 10. Casey just did that. He won in Dubai earlier this year. Almost all the winners had a previous top 10 at the Open. Casey did that. 4 career wins. Casey's got that. Four previous Open appearances. He's played in a bunch of them, and good form. Basically, have you had a top 5 this season? Are you playing well right now? Like I just said, 6 top 10s in his last 10 starts. I know Casey hasn't closed in the past, and typically that's not the type of guy that I'm going to bet in a major. I just think this is the week that you're going to see somebody like Casey or Oosthuizen or Westwood, one of those Europe or South African guys who just kind of have the experience and the knowledge to just grind it out.
Yeah, taking all that stuff that you just said about the trends, we found 4 guys who met all the criteria, those 5 or was it 6 things that you talked about, and it was DJ, Hatton, Casey, and Westwood. So Westwood's another young, or not old, young, but an older guy. He's a 48-year-old that fits the criteria, just like you mentioned. I like both of our picks there at the 40 and 35 range.
Definitely. My top 10 guy this week is a bit of a long shot in terms of his odds. He's 4-1, but I think it's super, super good value for Patrick Reed on a course that's going to require grit and grinding and good short game and good putting. He is basically the best player from around the green and on the green in the world right now. He's like 2nd in strokes gained putting. He's like 5th in strokes gained around the green. He's not the best iron player. It concerns me a little bit that he's maybe not an elite iron player, but he does have 6 top 25s his last 9 starts. He's played pretty well in Opens. And I think this course might fit him better than any other Open course just because it's so demanding around the greens that's where he just excels. And if it's going to play really, really hard, Reed is another guy who I love getting when it gets super, super hard because he just doesn't care. He will just keep grinding, making pars, and he putts really, really well. He's one of the guys who could just putt out of his ass for like 3 rounds and just wins because he maybe didn't even hit his irons that good, but he just putted super good for 3 days, and boom, he's holding the trophy.
Yeah, I like him too because when these things get hard like this, is that guys have to start to scramble more. They start missing greens. They start having to chip a lot. Um, things are messing them up where they have those little shots that are weird and quirky and like I don't really know if I can get up and down from this area. Patrick Reed just does that all the time. He's
Yeah.
just good at that. So
Right.
right, so he just knows what he's doing, and those moments or that style of golf doesn't get in his head. He just, like you said, he just grinds it out. He just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going, and he can play that style along with Rory and all those big guns that we've already talked about. So I really like Patrick Reed. I considered him to possibly win. We're gonna see. I don't know if I'll add him or not, but I would definitely consider him to maybe compete. And if you have a top 10 on him, that's perfect, right? So you just have him on Sunday and you try to you have a little cushion. So I'm going to go with a little bit less value. I'm going to go with Victor Hovland. This is going to be a popular pick, I know, but Vic is just awesome. He's a guy that I love to watch play golf. He's been amazing in his come up in the past couple of years. He's a recent Euro winner with the BMW, so I have the last 2 BMW winners on my card with Hatton and Victor. He's never played in the Open, so I don't really know if he could contend to win. I think that's kind of a big deal here in this major tournament. He's had a good form. He's a great fit. He's going to ball strike the heck out of it. He'll be fine in the wind. He'll be hitting greens like crazy. His chipping has gotten way better since last year whenever he was chipping himself out of tournaments, but he makes up for it because he hits greens constantly. He has the power, like we talked about, right? That if things get kind of hairy, you're going to need to hit it really far down there just to give yourself a chance at par.
Yeah.
He has that power. He's going to be able to compete. The talent's there. He's fine in Europe. That's an easy thing. And he's been decent in majors outside of his WD that he got sand in his eye. So I don't even really count that because that doesn't really matter. And he's been decent outside of that. No like crazy finishes, but everything, in that back half of the top, so like in the 30 to 40 range. So if he's fine competing, I think if he can have something good here in Europe and have a little better, more confidence and comfortability, I think he'll be great. A top 10 will be good for Victor.
Yeah. If I didn't know about all these trends, if I was just somebody who was just looking straight at current form stats and like what I think fits his course, he fits it just as good as anybody. I bet him outright. I saw his number in the 30s to start the week, and I just was like, all right, Vic in the 30s at a course that demands good iron play. He just ball strike his way into contention. Obviously, I think it will go to somebody more experienced just because these tournaments tend to go that way. But I think he's got as much talent as about anybody. It'll be interesting to see. Maybe him or Morikawa can buck that trend.
Morikawa did this at the PGA, right? Where he came out and just wowed everybody.
Right, yeah.
Where people were just like, holy shit, who is this guy? He's like a major winner already. So this can happen. This is not something that trends can be broken constantly, so I would not discount or count him out to win. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Is it, is a 30 number really good for the talent that he has? Absolutely. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's up there on Sunday and he's in one of the last groups.
Yeah, definitely. Who do you like for a top 20? I think there's some pretty good value on top 20s this week. The field's obviously strong, but I do think there's some value here.
Yeah, I got a really good player at 2-1 in Daniel Berger. Daniel Berger is I don't know how popular it'll be. I haven't seen a ton of stuff about him this week, but that's fine. He's hard scoring green and regulation guy. The stat that I mentioned right off the top is that when things get hard, who's hitting the greens, and he is. So he's right up there with all the other big guys, which I really, really like. He hits good drives. He's always been an excellent guy off the tee as far as not only does he hit it pretty far, but he hits it in the fairway, which is really, really nice, especially here where you don't want to be in some unknown spots. It's like when you check the PGA Tour app, right? And it says, off the tee or shot 1 unknown. You don't want that. So I like Daniel Berger this week. His approach has been awesome all 2011. His irons have been great. He was really good in the winter, and then just has really, really kept it on in 2011 or 2021. Sorry. I expect a big performance from him, especially following his top 10 at the U.S. Open. I think that's going to give him a little more experience, a little more confidence that, hey, I can compete in these big time events. We've seen him win events. We've never seen him, especially in a big major and a big event like this. So I think he'll be fine. A top 20 is good value for Berger at 2-1.
Yep, he's way too good of a player to to not think he can play well here. My guy's a little bit more unknown. I've put him out on this before. I've written about him. I like him quite a bit. Christian Bezuidenhout. He's South African. He's been playing solid golf, nothing spectacular. He's made 5 straight cuts, all of them finishing in the top 45, which isn't unbelievable. He is a short game specialist for the most part. He's a really, really good chipper and putter, like Patrick Reed. Like he's a poor man's Patrick Reed to a degree.
Right.
What was kind of scaring me off at first was some of his, if I look at Fantasy National, his iron stats aren't quite as good as I would want for this course. But if you go look at the European Tour stats, which are a little bit skewed because he's only competing against certain guys on the Euro Tour. He's 5th in strokes gained approach this season on the European Tour. I like that a lot. Basically, that gives me the ease. Right. I can see where he has the ceiling of irons that are going to be necessary this week. And I love his short game profile. He hits it in the fairway too. He's not a long hitter. I don't expect to see him in the heather all week. So he'll be in the fairway, hitting quite a few greens, and he can more than make up for it if he misses with his short game. He's one of those guys that goes out early tomorrow that I would not be surprised shoot 3, 4, 5 under early. And South Africans have played really well at the Open. He should feel comfortable. He plays in Europe all the time. Plus 275 is a pretty strong number for them.
Yeah, I like that. I would just pair it right with the Patrick Reed stuff about how good he can be around the greens, and when things get a little hairy, it's like, well, he's got the skills to get him through, and he's not gonna he's not gonna be like, oh, he just put himself out of it because he couldn't scramble for couples. He's fine. He'll make some putts. He'll do what he has to do to get through.
Definitely.
If he gets the irons really fired up, like you said, if we get like a week where he really fires them up, we might see something special out of him this week. But
definitely,
top 20 is great.
Definitely. My matchup this week, I am in full fade of Bryson. If you read my article on Noob Sports, I'll take anybody you're going to give me at the top that's in the same kind of minus 110 or plus money or minus 115, maybe even against Bryson. I'm going to take it. Bryson is obviously awesome. This course just does not make any sense for him. This course you have to get it in the right spot. If you're getting it on the wrong side of a hump, you're going to end up in a bunker with a 20-foot lip. If you miss the green long, you could go out of bounds. He just is not precise enough, I don't think. Most of when he plays really well, it's because he can take advantage of his length and give himself wedges, where he is more precise with his wedges. He's not going to be able to just bomb driver all over this golf course and hit 9-iron pitching wedge, lob wedge into all these greens. It just doesn't set up for that. I do think he will back off and hit more fairways with irons and hybrids and things of that nature, but he's just not a good enough long iron player. If he's going to be hitting 6, 7, 8 irons in all these greens, he's just not good enough with that yet, I don't think. Plus, he doesn't do well when things don't go his way. He throws hissy fits. He complains and blames everything else but himself. So I'm going Patrick Cantlay minus 110 over Bryson. Cantlay is the exact opposite of Bryson when it comes to that. He is like a robot. Things don't really seem to bother him. And Cantlay just has a really, really good all-around game. He's got a couple good finishes at the Open. He doesn't have a ton of experience over here, but I just like the fact that I know what I'm kind of getting from Cantlay. I'm getting solid golf, and I'm not going to get, like just a blow-up. I'm not going to get a head-off 44 like Bryson did on the back nine at the U.S. Open. I just don't see how Bryson fits.
Yeah, Cantlay's really bounced back after his tough streak too. Like his form has been awesome.
Definitely, he's got a win and a couple top 15s.
Yeah, his form has been awesome. His win came whenever when Rahm got COVID,
right?
But still, right. I'd say his form has been like he's competing. He's back in the mix, and like you said, he's so like consistently good at what he does. It's nice especially when you're watching him on TV, because like he's not gonna mess up or like do something crazy where it's like, oh my god, my bet's gone. So it's like he'll be right there.
It does take forever though.
He does take forever.
He is as slow as Bryson. They are both horribly slow.
This is Bryson's first week with the new caddy, right?
Yep. Unless you count the match.
No. So we could get like some Friday exit me and my first week of the caddy interview, where he misses the cut or something. Like I don't know.
You can get
I
nice
think
odds on him to miss the cut.
Yeah, I could see that storyline coming out.
Definitely.
I'm going to go with Palmer over Henley. This is kind of rare for me. This is a little bit of a strange matchup for my style of betting. But I'm going to reference what I said earlier as far as a guy who has really, really recent form, and that's Ryan Palmer, who sneaky came over here last week and got top 5 at the Scottish Open.
Yes, he did.
I think, and I know that was planned. He came over here for a reason because he wants to perform this weekend.
Absolutely.
And he came over and played well. So I think that confidence will really kind of will trickle over into this weekend. And he doesn't seem like a European style guy just based on where he plays, southern United States. But his game fits. He's going to do what he has to do. He's made 4 of the 5 cuts in his open starts, which is great for me. I think he'll be fine. I think he's not scared or uncomfortable in these style of courses or these style events. He had an amazing winter, like all the way up until the spring. He was playing really, really well. Multiple top 5s. A bunch of people were betting him to win a bunch of events. He never got one. He kept contending and never got the win. He's been okay this spring, but nothing crazy. But I think now that he played last week and performed like that, that's why I'm taking this matchup. I'm taking him against Russell Henley. Russell Henley is hit or miss in his open appearances, mixed cuts, or kind of down there in the 30 range. This is his only real Euro event that he plays. Russell Henley, he not really ever comes over and does anything besides majors and WGCs as far as when he gets out of the United States, which even then is not very many times.
Yeah.
So I like Ryan Palmer. This is kind of riding that hot streak, like I said, off last week, -10. And Henley's not necessarily a good enough player for me to be scared.
Yeah, I mean Henley's ball striking is obviously where he makes his money, but
Right.
I just don't see how he makes a ton of sense over here. So I like that. I'd like that quite a bit. My bad golfer I'm betting this week. There's not a lot of bad golfers in this field, so apologies to Lucas Herbert. I don't think that's how you pronounce his name if you're from Europe or Australia. I think it's Herbert, but either way, he's Australian. He plays on the European Tour. And he kind of has an interesting profile for this week. I just think he's really good. I think he's a little bit unknown. He's a really good driver of the ball. He hits it far, which he should be able to back down, hit a bunch of fairways with long irons and woods. And he is a really, really good short game player, like second in strokes gained putting on the European Tour and 14th in scrambling and 13th in sand saves. His approach game is not awesome, as good as I would want it to be, at least. But I think the ceiling of his approach game is there. If we get decent approach play, I think he could legitimately finish like in the top 5. They're giving you top 30 at 3-1 or top 20 at plus 550. I just think he's a better player than where he's being priced. And I think he's going to kind of have a little bit of a breakout this week. I think he'll be able to chip and putt his way around if his irons are just average.
This is hopefully not a jinx, so just put that out there to the golf gods. But Adam Schenk contended for a win last week, and he was your bad golfer. Guido was your bad golfer the week that he won.
Yeah.
So you've almost had 2 outright winners from this bet. So I mean, I don't know a ton about Lucas Herbert or however you say his name, but I'm excited from what you said. I know I've seen the stats and everything, but I haven't had enough eye time, on TV with him that I PGA or like PBA or live to really understand him. But I like it, and I'll be riding with you because you've had some guys really compete.
Yeah, he's second in strokes gained total on the European Tour this year. Third, sorry. He's good. I'm a little concerned about the irons, but the putting, the ceiling with the chipping and putting, I just can't kind of stay away from.
Well, I like it. We have a change of plans in this margins this weekend, Justin.
Yeah.
We hit the first 2-stroke winner last week, which is great. Those are the most fun weeks of everything because you have like all the outcomes. If the guy birdies, it doesn't matter. You still win, right? And then if he doesn't birdie or hits par or whatever, you win more money. It's great. So We're gonna change it up though this week. We're going 2-stroke 350, 3-stroke 550. Multiple Open championships have ended in big margins, and that's a lot to do to the types of style, of course, like we said, with the wind like scoring can matter based on when you leave the clubhouse, right? Like depending on
Definitely.
the weather and all that stuff. So if you catch a guy who can really play well, and I'm not going to place a bet, but I wouldn't be mad if someone placed like a margin bet on Rory. I think we talked about this earlier in the week. If a guy like Rory wins, he has the ability to win by multiple strokes. So I'm gonna bump it up a little bit. I think the winner comes in 2 to 3. 3 would be awesome. If we hit the winner and it's 3, if it's one of our 4 guys in 3, we're gonna have a party. So it's gonna be
Yeah, I like it. This event, people can kind of run away and hide just because of the weather.
Right.
Sometimes if you just get out and make a bunch of pars, just hang out for dear life. If it gets really, really bad weather, somebody could go out and post in the morning and make everybody else try to hang on. I do think that this is probably a good idea to bump it up and take that shot at plus 550 for sure.
Yeah, and these things don't have to always happen on Sunday, right? These big gaps can start to happen on Saturdays, like Saturday morning. Some guy just posts some crazy where like Rahm's up by 5 all of a sudden, right? And he stops and then he plays back into the margin at 2 and 3, right? Or someone plays up into him. So these things can be won earlier in the week, and we can kind of iron themselves out. It doesn't always have to be some guy going crazy on Sunday. So I like the outcomes.
Definitely.
And 2 to 3 strokes is you kind of have the insurance on both ends, where it could be a tight race, where a 0 could end up to a 2, or a 1 could end up as a 2. It'd also be like a 4 or 5 that drops back into a 3. So I like it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, best bets. I'm gonna make one comment before we get into best bets. There's 2 guys that I don't have on my card that I mentioned that I do like quite a bit. Robert McIntyre. He plays on the European Tour all the time. He's a bomber, but also has a good short game and really good iron play. I just think he fits really nicely. He finished 6th at the 19 Open. I like him quite a bit. And Zalatoris. I'm always on Zalatoris. I kind of got off of him the last couple weeks because he hasn't been very good. He popped up again last week at the Scottish, and I watched a video on him today where he was talking about the Lynx style and how he likes to play to it. And he's like a sneaky, like kind of nerd golfer, like Bryson. Like he uses this decade playing method. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's basically he knows exactly how many shots an average tour player takes from certain distances in the fairway, in front of the rough and around the greens, and he tries to play the percentages. Like, all right, if I'm 100 yards out, I can attack this pin. If I'm 160, I'm going to hit it 15 foot on the good side of the hole, just because that's good for an average tour player. This is one of those courses where you got to think your way around. You got to hit it to that spot, to hit it to this spot, to hit it to this section of the green. Clearly, he likes to do that and think that way, and he's the best iron player not named Justin Thomas and Collin Morikawa in the world. So I like him quite a bit. But my best bet is Sergio Garcia. Like I said earlier, I'm kind of leaning into like a feels thing. I just think Sergio fits awesome. He's got 10 top 10s in 18 Open Championship starts. This style of golf is perfect for him. He hits a low missile off the tee. He's been one of the best drivers of the ball forever. He'll be in the fairway with driver a ton. When he plays good, it's his irons. He's been playing pretty good recently. He's got 3 straight top 20s. His putter can be bad, certainly, but on a top 20 at plus 250, I think. Yeah, plus 250 on a top 20. I just like it a lot. I think he makes a ton of sense. I bet him to win at 70-1. He's one of the other guys that I just think could just bring the Euro magic and old guy magic and win this event.
Yeah, I like it, and I hope he closes his eyes when he putts, because it's the best thing ever to watch.
Yeah, I hope if he wins a major putting with his eyes closed, I might have to just putt that way.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. But the driving thing is huge, right? His drives are missiles, and if things start to matter about where you are after your tee shot, because that really can help you hit the green. If like hitting the green becomes really important, then that means those drives become important also, because then you have an easier chance. You'll just hit more greens if you have better landing spots. So he has the ball striking. If he's putting himself in those positions constantly over and over and over again, He'll be fine. He'll compete with these guys, and it's
Yep.
Sergio. Like he's not like some newbie. He has had these experiences before. He'll be fine.
Yeah, like I said, 18. He's played 18 opens. He's got 10 top 10s. That's as good an experience as anybody in this field.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Yeah, I really like that bet. I'm gonna go this. I could not decide on this bet forever. It took me so long. Like literally, it took me 2 days, I think, of looking at bets to figure this out. And I wrote down so many things, and I eventually was like, I just have to do it. And I feel bad. I'm sorry, Xander. I'm sorry, but I'm going against you with Jordan Spieth at even money. Jordan Spieth at even money is just like, I don't know. I just blank the other name and I just take the bet. I just take it. Here at a major champion, he's amazing in not only majors, but at this major, he's been good at link style courses. He's been awesome. He's good in the win. He's made 12 cuts in a row in a top 20 at the U.S. Open, multiple top fives in that run. Open finishes 20th, 9th, 1st, 30th, 4th. He was first in my model as far as all the things that I thought were important going into the thing. His outright number is a little bad in some places, so I'd be skeptical on betting that. But I really like this matchup, Spieth versus Xander. You might have to wait all the way until the last hour of the tournament to win this bet. It could get really, really down to the wire. You never know, but. Spieth plus money. He's my best bet. I'm going to take it. I'm going to close my eyes, say I'm sorry, Xander, and move on.
I love Spieth, and it's right now. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm trying to find out the very last guy I'm betting outright this week, and I've narrowed it down to 3 people. It's Spieth, it's DJ, and it's Rory. And Spieth has like the magic beans. He can just pull it straight out of his butt and just get up and down from the stupidest spot you've ever seen in your whole life. Drain 5 20-footers in like 6 holes. That's what he does. And that's what the Open is. You're going to get some stupid bounce, and Spieth's just going to walk up there and hit it to a foot. Like that's just he just has it.
Yeah.
Fading Xander is not necessarily what you want to do in a major. He's not won any, but he finishes like 7th every time he tees it up. But I think Spieth can definitely win this. I love him at the Open. One thing that I wanted to mention before we sign off, I listened to a pod with a guy who grew up in this area. His son is a really good golfer, and they played this golf. He was a good golfer as well. They played this golf course some. He's caddied out there a little bit. He said the first 4 holes are brutal, like the hardest 4 of the hardest holes on the whole golf course. He said if there's a guy that you like outright and they get off to a start like 2 or 3 over through their first 4, run to the book. Like Spieth's like at like 14 or 16 right now. If he's 2 over through 4 and they lay him at like 23, don't worry about the fact that he's got off to a bad start because those holes are hard. So just something to think about. But yeah, I like Spieth a lot. And my best bet's Sergio top 20. So let's ride some of these experienced older guys to some wins this week.
Let's do it. It's a big week. We're gonna have fun. It's Corn Ferry Week in Springfield, Illinois, in our town. So we're gonna be taking in Corn Ferry in a major championship. Who could ever want a better weekend than we're gonna have?
Yep, it's gonna be great. Good luck on everybody's bets, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.